realization. Before we begin our session, let's offer our prayers to Prabhupada and Lord Krishna. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra ki jai Shri Shri Nitaya Gauranga ki jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today we are going to discuss on a very interesting topic which is very much relevant to all of us, and everybody is thinking how to find a solution to this particular problem. So today's topic is crime. Why there is crime in society and how to tackle this problem. Okay? Mostly all the governments throughout the world are all struggling to find a solution for this problem. So in this wonderful conversation, a talk with one of the media persons from a police department in America, Prabhupada is very wonderfully explaining the reason for crime and how we can curb the crime, how we can bring it under control, proper control. So let's get into the discussion. So all these wonderful discussions are happening by the inspiration of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of the worldwide Hare Krishna movement, Iskcon, who has so mercifully recorded all the teachings in the form of books, in the form of his words, which is all available for us, for our better understanding now, and also to see that we transform our lives. This is a special gift of Prabhupada, that the knowledge of Vedic literatures is timeless. Timeless means it can be applicable at any point of time. It has no expiry period. It's like we have, sometimes, many times, many things which we purchase an expiry period. Whereas the knowledge of Vedas are called Sanatana understanding. It is always true. They are all facts always, which can be applicable at any point of our life, and it is always going to benefit us. So this is the wonderful gift of Srila Prabhupada. So this particular topic which we're going to discuss today is actually an interview which happened in July of 1975 between Prabhupada and a Chicago Police Department media relations person by name Lieutenant David Moosey. And he's seeing that in the US, there's too much of crime going on. So Prabhupada very nicely, he responds, if human beings can be given opportunity to learn about God, then they remain. If they're not given, actually they're supposed to learn about God. If they don't understand about God, then they remain on the level of cats and dogs. And in a society of cats and dogs, you cannot have peace. The thief and murderer already know the law, yet they still commit violent crimes due to their unclean hearts. Our process is to cleanse the heart. So we'll see all these wonderful discussions going to unfold as we move forward in our discussion session. The first aspect which Prabhupada addresses is how to stop crime. So this media person from the police department is asking, I understand you have some ideas that could help us in our efforts to prevent crime. I would be very, very much interested to hear them, because all of us throughout the world want to stop crime. Crime is something which nobody desires, nobody wants, but it is there. So it is important to hear from self-realized soul, Prabhupada, about this particular perspective of Vedic perspective about what is crime and how to stop crime. Prabhupada says, looking inward means knowing that you are a spirit soul. So basically, Prabhupada is beginning his teaching, or rather his talk, by telling, yes, you want to know what is crime, but let me tell you that we have to look inward toward the soul. Basically, Prabhupada is trying to tell that we have to understand that we are not the body, we are spirit soul. With regard to an ordinary person and a criminal, what is the difference? The difference between a pious man and a criminal is that one is pure in heart, other is dirty in heart. That's the difference. So what is the dirt? Is what Prabhupada is going to explain. When you understand that you are spirit soul and you're actually pure entity having connection with God, that is going to solve all the problems. Prabhupada is always bringing the point of spiritual perspective. So the difference between a pious man and a criminal, one is pure in heart, another is dirty. So what is the dirtiness in the heart? This dirt is like a disease, Prabhupada says, in the form of uncontrollable lust and greed in the heart of the criminal. Right? Criminal's heart is filled with so much of dirtiness, which is mentioned in the scriptures as Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. So everybody is struggling with these contaminations in the heart. So these contaminations, Krishna also says that they are like enemies for us, because anytime they can attack you and make you totally uncontrollable and do so many things which otherwise is not actually to be done by a sane man. Right? So the dirt is like a disease. And the disease is what? In the form of uncontrollable lust and greed. Lust means which is strongly you want to indulge in a particular way of gratifying your sense. Very strongly you feel to indulge in a particular sense gratificatory activity, which may be legal or illegal. It's very strong, it's a force. And greed is to enjoy more and more, to indulge more and more. That is called greed. So this is the main problem. These dirty things are in the heart, like uncontrollable lust and greed. So they are actually causing all these problems. This is the heart of a criminal. Prabhupada is getting into the subject matter, and he is trying to tell the police department representative that yes, basically people are having this contamination in the heart in the form of uncontrollable. See, lust and greed to in a regulated manner is fine, but it is uncontrollable. That is the problem. Today, people in general are in this disease condition, and thus crime is very widespread. Right? So the police representative wanted to understand if any recommendation can be given to stop crime, to prevent crime. So Prabhupada is telling, first of all, let us understand, analyze what is the situation. An ordinary person, a common citizen who is pious, his heart is pure. A criminal's heart is dirty. And dirty heart means uncontrollable lust and greed. Thus, people in general are in this diseased condition, and thus crime is very widespread. When the people become purified of these dirty things, crime will disappear. Very simple recommendation Prabhupada is giving. When the dirty things in the heart are completely cleaned, then this crime will disappear. The tendency, why this crime is basically a tendency to act in a way which is not permitted or not advisable, or it is not, as per the law, it is wrong. So, this uncontrollable lust and greed and so many other corollaries of these is filling the heart of everybody. That is the reason there is so much of crime. Somehow, this disease of uncontrollable lust and greed is cured, then there will be no more crime. Crime will disappear. The simplest process, Prabhupada says, of purification is to assemble in congregation and chant the holy names of God. Very direct solution. Because what happens when you start chanting the holy name? It will cleanse your heart. It will clean the heart. And the sinful tendencies, the criminal mentality of uncontrollable desire, greed, becoming violent, all these will be gradually subsided. So Prabhupada is giving a solution what is actually applicable for this present times. It's called age of Kali. Because people are filled with this disease of uncontrollable desire and lust. So when you start chanting Hare Krishna mantra, just people come together and engage in Sankirtana, what happens? Your heart will be purified, which means the dirty heart will be cleaned. It will become pure. That is going to bring in a lot of peace and prosperity in everybody's life. Further, Prabhupada says, so if you want to stop crime, then you must gather as many people as possible for mass Sankirtana. Right? So, this Sankirtana, Prabhupada says, actually the basis of our Krishna consciousness movement. The whole Krishna consciousness movement is established on this aspect of Sankirtana, which is the dharma or the religion for this present age. So if you want to stop crime, then you must gather as many people as possible for mass Sankirtana. Mass Sankirtana means we can get people and make them engage in the Sankirtana. Sankirtana means congregational chanting of the holy names of Krishna. This congregational chanting of the holy name of God will dissipate all the dirty things in everyone's heart. Then there will be no more crime. Such a wonderful solution. So the reason why there is crime is because people's heart is filled with a lot of dirty things. A lot of dirt is filling their hearts. This has to be cleaned, purified. Just like morning, your house is cleaned with all the dirt and all the other garbage is thrown out. So the hearts of people are clean. Then they will not have this garbage sitting in their hearts. This garbage of lust and greed. It is actually troubling them. This is actually making them to act sinfully, criminally. Right? That is the point. So the only easiest process which can make their heart clean is engage everybody in the Sankirtana, the process of Sankirtana. What is Sankirtana? The congregational chanting of the holy name of God. Assemble together, and together you glorify Lord Krishna's names by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Right. So then then we can see that there will be no more crime, Prabhupada says. Next point which Prabhupada is going to address is about actually what is crime and why it is happening. Again, Prabhupada is going to analyze, see how Prabhupada is getting into depth of things. And one more wonderful aspect of Prabhupada is, even if an ordinary or a common man with no understanding of Vedic knowledge, he also speaks to Prabhupada. Prabhupada is so, in a very simplistic way, in a very nice way, he'll explain the whole concept that even that person will understand. Okay? The follow-up question of Lieutenant Muzi is that, Do you have any feelings about crime here in the United States as opposed to the crime in your own country of India? There is any difference between the crime in America and India? Prabhupada, first of all, makes a basic question to this lieutenant. He says, what is your definition of crime? Lieutenant says, any trampling on the rights of one person by another person. This is the definition of crime. You're trampling on the rights of one person by another person is called crime. So Prabhupada says, this is our definition also. The same definition we also have. So Prabhupada goes on to say, in the Upanishads, it is said, Isha Vasyam idam sarvam. Everything belongs to God. So if everything belongs to God, then everyone has a right to utilize whatever is allotted to him by God. But one may not encroach upon others' property. One of the statements from the Upanishad called Isha Upanishad. Isha means controller. Supreme Lord is the supreme controller, and he is the owner of all the creation. He has created everything. And God in his creation has also allotted each individual his things to be enjoyed by that particular individual. So whatever is allotted to the individual, that individual has a right to utilize them for his particular existence. But somebody is going to say encumber on the rights of other person, that is called crime. But you're going to you want to overpower somebody else with regard to snatching away in terms of property, money, or their well-being. That is called crime. Very nice definition. So Prabhupada is in Vedic perspective. Everyone has a right to utilize what has been allotted to him by God, but one may not encroach upon others' property. Property in terms of many aspects: physical property, wealth, land, money, etc., etc. Even the intellectual or the emotional property of everybody with regard to peace, happiness. That also nobody should not necessarily encroach upon or disturb. If one does so, he becomes a criminal. Right? So Prabhupada is directly pointing out, he's sitting in America and is telling, you Americans, you are the biggest criminals. Actually, the first crime is that you Americans are thinking this land of America is yours. Although 200 years ago it was not yours, and you have come from from other parts of the world and claimed it as your land. It is a history which everybody knows. Right? America was inhabited by the local aborigines, wherein the Europeans, when they came for trade, in fact, they were coming to India, but the ship went to one more part of the world. So they thought, we have discovered a new piece of land, so it is ours. Somebody else was living there and they actually had a lot of atrocities on them, the history says. So like this, you have actually 200 years ago, you came here on this part of the world and you're claiming that it is your land. So you're encroaching upon others' property. Actually, it is God's land. Therefore, it belongs to everyone, since everyone is a child of God. Right? So the land everywhere is God's property. But if you start claiming this is my land, that is called crime. But the vast majority of people have no conception of God. This is the problem. Right? So Prabhupada is trying to address the point of what is this crime actually, and why this crime is there. Right? In the first discussion we had, Prabhupada was telling basically our hearts are dirty, filled with uncontrollable lust and greed. Now Prabhupada is saying one more point. Actually, people have no conception of God. They don't know the actual truth of this existence. What is this world? Where from it is coming? Who is controlling it? They're just assuming that, oh, everything belongs to us. That is wrong assumption. Right? The Prabhupada is trying to tell here that vast majority of people have no conception of God, because of which, practically speaking, everyone is godless. People are all godless, no conception of God. They think they are only telling that they are following some faith, some religion, but they don't have proper understanding of who is God. Practically speaking, everyone is godless. This is a situation in the present day context. So therefore, they should be educated to love God. See how nicely Prabhupada has brought the point of you Americans claim that so much crime is going on, but you yourself have done a big crime by encroaching upon the property of some other people, and you're claiming this to be your land. Already you've done crime. And this is not only here, everywhere, same situation. Why? People are godless. They have no conception of God. Therefore, if you can educate people how to love God, then this mentality, criminal mentality can go. Thief mentality can go. So, Prabhupada is again pointing out one more nice thing. He says, in America, your government has a slogan, "In God we trust." Is that correct? Is the statement in American government. In God we trust. The lieutenant says, yes, statement. But where is the education about God? Directly Prabhupada is pointing out the shortcoming in the whole governmental way of functioning. To trust is very good, but simple trust will not endure unless it is backed up with scientific knowledge of God. Very important point Prabhupada is making. Right? In God you trust, but where is the proper training, education, that people can really function on the platform of understanding? Always Prabhupada wanted to tell us there is jnana, knowledge, understanding, and practical application of that knowledge called vijnana. So Prabhupada's way of telling things to people was that don't simply know that only we know, we also follow that in our life. That is the point. Right? So Prabhupada, that's why he's Acharya. Why? Because he was demonstrating himself by his personal example how to live a life of complete Vedic understanding. Teachings of Gita and Bhagavatam. He was an embodiment of it. He was the personality embodiment of the teachings. He was in every action, in every way of his behavior, he was demonstrating it. So, Prabhupada is telling, you simply say in God we trust, but it is not backed with the proper behavioral actions, patterns. Then how will you actually simply say that it is in God we trust? Simply that will not endure, it will not last long. Right? One may know that he has a father, but unless he knows who his father is, his knowledge is imperfect. That education, the science of God, is lacking. Right? So, Prabhupada is giving an example. You may know you have a father, but simply knowing is not enough. You should know actually who is your father. Whose father actually is. Then only your knowledge is perfect. Otherwise, that knowledge is lacking. And that education is the science of God is lacking. So, basically, the present day situation, Prabhupada is analyzing present day society. What is the shortcoming here? Shortcoming is that people are godless and they have no education in the science of God. This is lacking. Right? And because of this, there is dirty thing sitting in everybody's heart, uncontrollable lust and desire. And people think this is normal life. This is the misconception in which people are living their lives. So further, very nicely, this conversation goes on. So Prabhupada is going to emphasize on the point again, how mass Sankirtan will change the society. So this police department official is telling, do you feel that it's lacking only here in the United States? This question or this point which Prabhupada has brought about, that people are godless and people don't know the proper understanding about the science of God. Education about the science of God is lacking. So the question is whether this is only in America or everywhere, or all over the world. This is the question. So Prabhupada says, no, it is everywhere. The age we live is called Kali Yuga, the age of forgetting God. This is Kali Yuga symptom. Kali Yuga means wherein people are forgetful about God. So this is the situation present day. It is an age of misunderstanding and quarrel. The people's hearts are filled with dirty things. Kali Yuga means Kalaha Yuga. Kalaha means misunderstanding and quarrel. You can see always people have so many wrong understanding about their life, people around them. Always people are fighting, quarreling. And people's heart are filled with dirty things. This is a symptom of this age. Right? But God is so powerful that if we chant His holy name, we become purified, just as my disciples have become purified of their bad habits. Whatever the age may be, whatever situation it may be, the process of chanting Hare Krishna is so powerful. Prabhupada is giving a personal example of the movement which he has started. Just like my disciples are chanting the holy name of God, even though they're all Americans. Prabhupada started this movement in America. They're also your own citizens, American citizens. But because they're chanting the holy names of God, my disciples, they have become purified from bad habits. This is the power of the holy name of God. Because God is very powerful. All the dirty things in the heart will be completely cleansed. Right? Further, Prabhupada says, our movement is based on this principle of chanting the holy name of God. The Hare Krishna movement is based on this principle of making people chant, because unless they get associated with God, their nasty behavior or the behavior of having criminal mentality will continue. So we give everyone the opportunity without any distinction. You don't discriminate. Oh, you are from this country or this nationality or this background, or you're educated, non-educated. No, because all of us are humans and all of us are given equal opportunity through Prabhupada's Hare Krishna movement without any distinction, discrimination. They can come to our temple, chant Hare Krishna mantra, take a little prasada as refreshment, and gradually become purified. Let's see. Now, this is what Prabhupada is recommending. You visit our temples, chant Hare Krishna, then take some prasada. This is going to purify your. Next, Prabhupada says, so if the government authorities give us some facilities, then we can hold mass sankirtana. So this is the request Prabhupada is making. We want to stop crime amongst the masses. The easiest process is to make them chant the holy names of God, sankirtana. Because this is going to cleanse the heart of people. It's going to clean the heart of people and it will free them from the criminal mentality. It's a very important point Prabhupada is trying to make. We have to appreciate this wonderful principle Prabhupada adopted, and he went around to just spread Sankirtana all over the world. Right? If the governmental authorities give us some facilities, then we can hold mass Sankirtana. But Prabhupada was having this request from the government, but hardly any government supports. So Prabhupada was always trying to do whatever best possible through addressing people and trying to see that he tries to get donations from people, and movement is going on. That's how. Sometimes people say, oh, you people, Hare Krishna movement, Iskcon, trying to collect money. But money for what? Money is to spread Sankirtana, to create this wonderful atmosphere of peace and harmony amongst the people, not for any personal aggrandizement. Then, without a doubt, the whole society will change. Prabhupada had a strong conviction on this aspect. When people start participating in Sankirtana, society will change. Then there is a nice discussion about the difference between man and a dog. If I understand you correctly, sir, you are saying that we should emphasize a return to religious principles. So this lieutenant, police official, is trying to reiterate, confirm what he has understood properly. That Prabhupada, you are saying that you are emphasizing that we return to our way of religious following. Prabhupada says, certainly, without religious principles, what is the difference between a dog and a man? Right? The distinction between a human and an animal is that humans do have a religious way of life. Animals don't follow. What is religious way of life? There are certain way you are supposed to conduct your life in terms of your eating habits, your sleeping habits, your sense gratifying habits, right? All these things have to be as per the directions of standard books of understanding. If you simply just do whatever you want, like how animals don't have any regulations, unregulated, then that is a very degraded life. That's what Prabhupada is trying to tell us here. Man can understand religion, but a dog cannot. That is the difference. Right? Animals, Prabhupada generally used to take the example of dog and cat. How if a human is not following any rules, regulations, he is as good as any animal. Right? Because man can understand religion. It is a special facility man has, but dog cannot. So if human society remains on the level of dogs and cats, how can you expect a peaceful society? This is the point. Right? So if everybody is just trained to have a mentality like an animal, what is animal mentality? We try to understand as we move forward. But at least Prabhupada's way of presentation of things is so wonderful that a human can understand about what is right, what is wrong, what is the purpose of life, why am I here, what I should be doing. These things he can understand. But if the human society is on the level of animals only, animal mentality is continuing, can you expect peace in the society, animal society? No. Very nicely Prabhupada in the points. He further says, if you bring a dozen dogs and put them together in a room, will it be possible to keep them peaceful? Not at all possible. Right? See how even two dogs cannot be together. They'll be fighting always. See, if our mentality is like that of an animal, we'll be always fighting. There is no peace. That's why there is criminality. Similarly, if human society is filled with men whose mentality is on the level of dogs, how can you expect peace? If the human society is filled with people like this who are on the level of animals, dogs, then how can you expect peace? So Prabhupada brings out a very important point. What is the duty of the government? Prime duty of the government. So the follow-up question of this lieutenant, the police official, is that if some of my questions sound disrespectful, it is only because I do not completely understand your religious beliefs. I mean, no disrespect whatsoever. Basically, he's trying to mention or express himself that, maybe you have misunderstood my point, but I don't want to, I don't understand completely your way of faith, what it is, but I don't have any disrespect for that, he's trying to tell. Prabhupada says, no, it's not a question of my religious beliefs. It is a question of common sense, basically. Prabhupada is not talking about religious beliefs, saying that everybody has to become humans. Right now, they are on the animal platform. I am simply pointing out the distinction between human life and animal life. What is the difference? Animals cannot possibly learn anything about God, but human beings can, right? animals, if you want to teach them, it's like we are all attending a session now and trying to understand about the importance of life. Animals cannot understand this. Animals cannot participate like this. Humans have the ability to do. If humans don't utilize the opportunity they have, then they'll remain on the animal platform. That's the point. However, if human beings are not given the facility to learn about God, then they remain on the level of cats and dogs. So the humans have the opportunity to understand about God, about the purpose of life. They're not given the facility to further nurture that spiritual instinct in them, learn about God. Then they remain on the level of animals, cats and dogs. And cats and dogs means fighting always. They cannot have peace in the society. You cannot have peace in the society of cats and dogs. Therefore, Prabhupada says, it is the duty of the governmental authorities to see that people are taught how to become God conscious. Very important, observation Prabhupada is making. See, government is trying to solve the problem of crime, war, and so many other social problems, social evils present in the society. But government is not addressing the root cause of this problem. It's trying to superficially address the problems. Because people are godless, as we discussed just now. People are godless, and there is no proper education in the science of God. This is lacking, because of which people's heart is filled with dirty things like lust, uncontrollable lust and greed. And if somehow the government takes up this responsibility of to teach people how to become God conscious, it should be systematic training from the government. It's government's responsibility. This is how the Vedic society was designed. The kings are supposed to train the people through proper systems to see that people are all God conscious. Whatever faith is following is a different matter. But they should be following some authentic religious faith. That's the point, because that is what is going to distinguish a human from an animal. A very basic understanding Prabhupada is trying to give us here. So it is the duty of the governmental authority to see that people are taught how to become God conscious. Otherwise, there will be trouble, because without God consciousness, there is no difference between a dog and a man. It is the point which, Prabhupada is making a very basic point. The difference between human and animal is that humans have a developed consciousness. If you don't utilize that developed consciousness for further advancing towards the purpose of life, that is to come out of the cycle of birth and death, then there is no point. And government should take responsibility of this point. Otherwise, if you analyze between human life and dog life, the dog eats, we also eat. The dog sleeps, we also sleep. The dog has sex, we also have sex. The dog tries to defend itself, and we also try to defend ourselves. There's no difference. We're all common factors, right? In the scriptures, it is mentioned, Ahara Nidra Bhaya Maitunam Samanya Vedat Pashubinara. Ahara Nidra Bhaya Maitunam. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending are common for a human and an animal. There's no difference, right? The only difference, Prabhupada says here actually in the next statement, the only difference is that a dog cannot be instructed about his relationship with God, but a man can. Dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesha is the Vedic statement. A human being can understand about dharma, religion. Religion means, as a human being, I am supposed to understand about God, my relation with God, accordingly act in that relationship. If these instructions a human can understand, an animal cannot understand. That is the point. So we'll conclude today's session with this. We'll continue our discussion in the next session. Now, some more wonderful things which Prabhupada is going to address. So if anybody is going to ask, discuss, we can take a few questions. Yes, Muttaji.
Okay.
Very simple. What Prabhupada has told.
Yeah, very simple, very interesting.
Yes. So why there is crime? See, like this, Prabhupada always used to see the world from Vedic perspective.
Very true.
What is Vedas saying about the problem? The problem is not the problem because it has happened because of this, because of this. No, the whole problem, the root problem is forgetfulness of God. People have forgotten God, or people are lacking this conception of God. That is the whole problem. Conception means basically understanding. The basic understanding they don't have. So their perception, seeing the world will be in a different way. So when people are trained with a proper conception about God, like Prabhupada says, science of God, then they have a proper perception about this life, world around them. And you can see automatically everything will be in place. Unless this is done, then everything, whatever you do is only a stopgap arrangement. One problem, you solve 10 more problems will be ready. So the root problem is addressed of people.
Very difficult, but very difficult for any government to promote knowledge of God.
Very difficult, because right now everybody are godless. How will they promote? They don't have any understanding, strong conviction. That's the reason in the Vedic system, the kings used to be the kings were all trained in the science of God. They were Raja Rishis. Whereas modern day setup, democratic setup, the kings are all demons. They don't have any understanding of what is the purpose of life. They are not trained in any of these aspects. Right? Okay. Fine. We'll continue our discussion.